Oh, hello everyone. Kiro Show here. You know how I said my voice was feeling better? Whenever I was at work, I sneezed very, very hard, and I think I cleared my throat for probably 15 to 20 minutes. My throat felt a lot better after that, but recently, since recording the last part, I feel like my throat's been trying to dry out on me. So, I also am pretty sure I'm getting sick, and because of that, my asthma has actually been acting up. Now, what I mean by that is, if you have asthma, you know that feeling? I don't know if everyone gets this, but for me, whenever I start having my asthma act up, I'll feel pins and needles directly in the back of my lungs, and it really hurts. So, yeah, I am pretty sure I am getting sick, and that is not fun, especially for the area I live in. And that my job, I just started it recently, and calling in sick is not really something I would like to do. However, I do go into work tomorrow, and I will be off for Wednesday. So Tuesday night, I am going to try and. Well, I had essentially ideas for a couple quirks, and one of them is kind of weird, and the other one is literally Looney Tunesy, like quite literally. One I had an idea for was called "What if Deku had Judge Doom's powers?" And if you guys have ever seen Who Framed Roger Rabbit, it's so creepy because Judge Doom's a villain. And he looks human, but his eyes pop out of his skull and he can do anything Looney Tunesy. And thinking about that more, since he's essentially a gag character, it's nearly godlike. Because he could do anything Momo can do. He could probably, if he wanted to, like, blow into his finger and essentially put on like 1,000 pounds of muscle if he wanted to and just punch you in the face. And the other one is, it's quite powerful, but it's also something I don't think I've seen anyone do on YouTube. I cannot be 100% sure on that, but I am just stating that I would give it away, but I really need to work on it more. I found a way to make it less powerful than what it originally is, but it is still in the process of works. Well, it's still a work in progress. Hmm. I'll check that in a minute. Anyway, one thing I had an idea for the series for season 4, this one in particular, it's gonna be the second one I bring back, and that is gonna happen. I've actually had someone actually contact me and talk about how, well, not someone, Darth Banana Man has actually contacted me on YouTube in the comment section of the last video, talked to me about how Deku's eyes should turn red during the fights, and I'm pretty sure I have stated before that in during his fights, since he would take enough blows to the head in each fight he gets in, his eyes would essentially have blood soak into them. But now then, the Big 3 fight in the Provisional Hero License exam. That is a long sentence to say. Hang on. Okay, I just checked that. Now then, let's skip to. Actually, yeah, no, let's do that. I was gonna do that in the last part, but anyway. Like in the regular canon timeline, they do have rooms, and the dorm system has been put in place. Oh crap! I don't think I did that in the other series. Whenever I bring that back, I'm really gonna have to reinforce that concept because I did not do that. And oh crap! Okay, well, that one was my first series. I can't. I want to say I can't be blamed for that, but I really can't since I'm the narrator. Okay, but let's cut to when they're in the dorms on the weekend. Everyone's chilling out. Deku and Momo are on the love seat, actually cuddling. A lot of girls are getting somewhat jealous, and Momo and Deku are actually just kind of laughing a bit. And Kirishima and a lot of the guys, they would ask exactly. Well, they wouldn't ask. They'd say that they actually saw the fight go down, and that they're really surprised at how strong these two have really become. And they would ask Deku exactly how strong he has, like how far he's gotten with his training, and what exactly he would do. Deku and Momo would then they would get up and they'd walk outside, and Momo would actually create a water bottle, a plastic water bottle, and she would create. She'd fill it up with water and actually toss it over to Deku. She would also then create a ballpoint pen for herself, and everyone's looking at them. They're being really questionative because they essentially are just they're not doing anything. Deku and Momo would set the pen with one of her fingers. She'd set the pen on the ground, and she would then begin to essentially she'd jump into the air and balance on the pen with the tips of her fingers, and she's actually holding her own balance. And all the girls are actually impressed by this, and a lot of guys are just thinking that that's insane. So if she's going to do that, then what's Deku going to do? Deku would then toss the bottle straight up over his shoulder and then jump behind. Then he would jump up into the air following it. And as the bottle would land on a lamppost, everyone would be screaming that that's amazing. But then Deku would land on the bottle without even like denting the plastic in. And he would land on it with one finger. Now, that in itself is amazing. But anyway, this is just to show off how far they actually are, how strong they actually are. And this is just being been monologuing about different what ifs. So let's cut back to it. The big three fight. Mario would actually walk in and run straight up to Deku, saying that he saw the fight. He saw that All Might said that he was his successor. Deku would be taken aback, saying that he's All Might's successor. Mario would say, "You probably didn't hear it on the news, but they called All Might said that you were her successor, and so was Momo, and that he saw all the cool stuff she can do with her quirk." He would ask her why her nana, why her quirk is that advanced. She would have to reassure him that her quirk is a creation quirk. Now, let's cut to the fight. Everyone but Momo and Deku get taken out because Momo is able to stay high enough into the air that Mirio can't really get enough permeation through the ground to catch her. But she's fighting the girl who's I think she's actually the second strongest of the big three. Mm-hmm. Ow. And anyway, after that, Mirio would be fighting Deku. Deku, anytime Mirio would pop out of the ground, or anytime Mirio is moving around, Deku would automatically move to a spot to attack. And Mirio would know that essentially Deku not only may know his quirk, but know his fighting style. And he would say that he's actually impressed no one's lasted this long fighting him when they don't know what his quirk is. So, how do you do it? Deku would state that his quirk enhances his body and his senses. you may be able to permeate. You may be able to permeate through the ground, but you still have a heartbeat. He can still hear that. Mirio would actually realize Deku doesn't. He can't really avoid Deku, so he would actually just try and come in and straight fight him. Now, Deku would essentially come in and punch Mirio in most of the places that he can actually punch Mirio at. Because I want to say whenever Mirio activates his quirk, his blood probably would slow down or speed up. I'm not really sure since it can essentially phase through anything. I want to say it will probably speed up because that's the only way I can see it actually permeating. It would speed up to the point where it vibrates to the molecule frequency of air. So you can actually have space between the atoms. Alright, that is enough science for the day. But after that, Deku would take down Mirio, then the food guy would come in. Momo essentially has already taken down the girl because she kept making those spirals, but Momo just kept firing. She fired enough weaponry at her to where she stopped using her spirals and get close enough to. She would have gotten close enough to where she could actually fight her hand to hand, and where her spirals may be more effective close range because of their power, that she could barely use them. Because Momo is still essentially in that battle suit, kinda, but most of the time, whenever she's not fighting seriously against villains, like All for One was like all out, no holding anything back, no holds bars type thing. So she used an entire suit, but she's only using the hands and the boots, like I keep saying. And she would essentially take her out by using some martial arts and fighting styles and stuff like that. After that, Deku would Deku would be going against the food guy. The food guy would have, because let's say Mirio and Deku's fight was actually very drawn out. Deku would sometimes have gotten mad that he couldn't hit him, so he would have just started throwing around quite a bit of force, and that was whenever he learned, because he kept like listening for Mirio's heartbeat and changes in it, that certain parts of his body speed up and certain parts are still they sound the same. So he would have been able to hear the difference. Now, after that, he's going against Tamaki, I think his name is, the food guy. Ow. He's going against him. And the food guy, he does make that crystal stuff, but Deku punches through it. He would then try and wrap the tentacles around Deku's arm. And as soon as he does this, it's like kind of what Superman does to Wonder Woman's lasso, where he would grab them, pull him towards him, and he would essentially grab him by the throat and then begin to choke him out. And he would smash him into the ground. Now, that may be very, very violent to hear, considering I said like smash him into the ground, like creating a crater smash, but it works. Now then, after that, Momo and Deku would be talking about the provisional license exam, and she would state that whenever she was watching some footage and she looked it up online, for some reason she only found that their school broadcasted the tournament. Deku would state that if their school was the only school in their country to broadcast the tournament, since they're going against other schools, they might know what their quirks are and try and take them out first. So they would have been talking about this on the bus, and Deku would state that they're going to be the targets. They're going to be the first on everyone's list to try and take out. So everyone needs to be ready. Aizawa would actually think that Deku. He would essentially say that Deku is right. They are going to be coming after him, and he was hoping that he wasn't going to give them a heads up. Because, yeah, Aizawa's basically just, oh, this is a giant monster. Yeet the small child into the situation. Aizawa, no. Aizawa, yes. Yeah, it's bad how I could see that against. Yeah, I can actually see that. I can see that for quite a bit of situations. That's Aizawa. He would then curl up into a ball and go to sleep. Anyone who tells me I might be wrong obviously needs to rewatch the series. But now then, the whole thing with the wind guy would happen, and whenever the guy with the wind quirk or that target quirk tries to shake Deku's hand, Deku, since he still has his cane in his hand and is wearing those goggles, everyone kind of seems weirded out that this guy is supposed to be the strong. Like everyone would, they would kind of ask like, "Oh, what happened to you?" or "What happened?" Because whenever they saw him during a sports festival and on the news, he's never had his cane. He would explain to him that, "Oh, he's blind," and some of them would actually be quite shocked at this. They'd state that they would ask him, "So you're blind? Is that just part of your what? Is that just like part of your quirk?" He would state, "Yes, actually, his quirk can his quirk works like one of the Pussycat's quirks by he can see and hear everything around him." He would then state that, "Oh, one of the people off, one of the people on your bus, I believe, has." He would then sniff the air and say they drank coffee, or I could actually, he would say like, "Oh, your teacher, crap, I don't know what to say." She either I could see Miss joke like drinking coffee or like something like a silly drink name. I don't know. Like she would drink it just because its drink name sounds funny. Yeah, actually, I see her drinking coffee, but she would just call it something different. And I really love that my voice cracked whenever I tried talking, but I'm pretty sure no one heard it. Anyway, they would then like realize that crap, he might be the most dangerous one in the situation. Because whenever they saw him during the sports festival, he had 30% of one for all. 30! Now he's got like almost all of it. So, anyways, that whole part would start. They're all in their hero outfits. A lot of people actually do see Deku, and because a lot of people would have spread this information that, oh, one guy can actually see all over the place, or not see all over the place. He has a quirk like that one Pussycat member who can track people down. So a lot of classes are actually, instead of targeting most of the people in 1A, they're actually targeting Deku. And Deku and Momo would have actually got out on their own together to fight against people. And she would have been flying, and let's say that she was actually holding a rope, and hmm, with her suit she actually created like a bar that she can hang a rope from, and this is a Kevlar rope, so she's actually able to hold on to Deku as they fly around. And Deku's got it tied around his waist, and they're actually flying around doing all this. People see them and think it's kind of weird, but realize that that's the guy in 1A that they need to take out, and he's just a sitting duck. Like, is he trying to like be reconnaissance for their entire class? What's going on? So they would fire all the balls at him, and as soon as this happens, people would just see Deku put his hands out and just smash them together. And whenever he does this, Momo actually had to like Momo essentially kind of had a re. She had to like predict how this would affect her balance, and she would if she didn't predict it, she probably would have fell out of the sky. But after this, Deku sends all the balls flying back, and instead of that wind guy getting everyone out, it's actually Deku. Because as people were attacking, well, no, the wind guy would have actually seen that Todoroki uses. He may use his fire, but he's still Endeavor's son. Because he's still got that drive like Endeavor that pisses him off. He's got that face. That really punchable face is what that one guy thinks. So, after that, Endeavor, ow, the wind guy would be ready for. He would be the first person to target Todoroki and try and fight him, but that doesn't work. And yeah, everything goes like in canon. Then it's the oh, you need to do rescue training. People don't really. Well, people would pair up with Deku, but it's different teams. Him and Momo are pairing up together with. There's probably a. You remember that person who was collapsed under all the rubble? How the building wouldn't be properly stable if they were to try and move it. Deku and Momo would actually go to structural points and both move it together, and people are seeing this. And after that, Momo would go help the guy up while Deku's essentially carrying a building on his back. And after this, Deku would just throw it off his back, and everyone's looking at him and thinking that that was crazy. So yeah, after that, they essentially would earn their licenses, and everything would still actually that's not a real saying. Things would end up aligning to similar in canon, except the Pussycat member has still has her quirk. Deku doesn't have Black Whip, and Momo is very strong in this what if. Also, now that I've covered essentially this whole series, except for season 4 when it comes out, I actually did have an idea. But Darth Banana Man messaged me with something like he messaged me and was talking about it. I already kind of had a somewhat feel for the idea I was going for, but I'm really glad he didn't directly guess. He didn't guess directly what I was going to do, but it's going to be some. I feel like I might get a lot of hate for it, but I might also. I feel like this might either be one of those series people really hate because if I do it, some people might stop watching. But after I finish that season 4 covering it, people might actually feel like I did justice to it. And yeah, okay. Well, now I am going to do some research before I go to bed about the quirk I'm giving Deku next. So this is going to be Kirisho signing off. Also, I'm going to respond to the person on YouTube.